Hello friends, welcome back to AWS with Jaymit. If you are a beginners in AWS, then you are learning to write video. In this video, I am going to cover introduction to AWS Lambda and how you can create your first Lambda function. So I am already logged in into my AWS account. If you don't have an account, go ahead and check my video about how to create your first AWS account and create your account. So this is a AWS console. When you have to create your Lambda function, you have to search Lambda service here. So Lambda is what is AWS Lambda? Lambda is it is allow you to run a code without thinking about servers. So it is a kind of like serverless service which will allow you to focus on your business logic. You don't have to worry about provisioning the infrastructure. Don't need to worry about how to scale your infrastructure while traffic increase in your application. So you only have to focus on your business logic. So you can see here AWS is run code. AWS Lambda can run code without managing servers. So focus on your application, know your infrastructure management. Lambda automatically provisions, scale, and monitor while you build your business logic. AWS Lambda can support different runtimes like Node.js, Python, Ruby, Java, .NET, and other. So this is like way it will allow you to create your different use cases. Like if you want to build any event-driven application, say for example, if you want to build an application to process data in real time. If your application need to scale up and down based on your traffic need, like you don't know the frequency of traffic and you have like sudden spike and down, in that case it will help you to go with easy scalable from AWS side. No need to worry about it will be a pay as you go model. So pricing will be when it is idle, no prices. When it is used extensively, it will have a price accordingly. So when you have to build a distributed event driven workflow, this Lambda function will have. Say for example, if you want to build any API, you need to use like API gateway, and behind the scenes you need to use AWS Lambda function for your business logic. Okay, so first let's here you can also see some documentation about Lambda functions, like how to create your first Lambda function step by step. Here given some step as well. So first I'm clicking on create function. So here we'll see AWS console where we are able to create our first function, and here we get a different options like either we want to create a function by using blueprint or a from scratch. So I am creating it from scratch. So I'm giving the function name my first Lambda function, and I am selecting runtime node.js. So we have a different runtime option here: .NET, Java, Python, and other languages. So I am selecting here node.js, and you can also choose your choice of runtime, either Python or other. There are other options as well, like durable Lambda function, other things. But for now, we are just covering basic stuff for absolutely beginners. You are able to do additional check as well, like if you want to use a ARM64 pair 4 base architecture or a 86 base architecture, other stuff. But for now we'll directly go ahead and create our first Lambda function, simple one. So this is the way you create your first Lambda function after selecting your choice of runtime. And once your Lambda function get created, you will see the simple handler function code where you are able to see your code and everything. So here you see we are successfully created our first Lambda function with Node.js. So here you will see like you have a package size this, you have selected runtime Node.js, your handler code is there, other stuff like. So here you can see your default code. So this is your default handler function. So whenever someone trigger this lambda function, when you execute this lambda function, your this node.js code will be executed. So this code is simple, like it is a handler function. This is the syntax generally used in node.js, and it is a simple JSON defined with status code 200, and there is a hello message so in the body. So whenever we trigger this function, it will show the response with this JSON object giving the response. It is a simple one. So for testing perspective, you need to use this testing tab. You are able to also give some input in the event if you want to give any event in the input, and when you click test, you will get a response. So you see status code 200 and this message we have here, so we get that message in the response. And same way, this is a monitoring section where you are able to monitoring your calls. So if there is any errors, any success, how much time it was taking. So these are different metrics. The invocation time it is taking by particular request, duration, error rate, is there anything failing or success, and many other metrics are there that you are able to monitor. And if you want to check your logs, like while you running your function, is there any problem or error occurs, like if you are building any API gateway will call this lambda function, will have some logic like connecting to the database and putting an entry, creating a new record into the database. Then in that case, like you need to test this, right? So some error occurs while running this lambda function, you can monitoring those things into the CloudWatch section. So where you will see your lambda function logs. So this is a log group. In CloudWatch we have a log group, and this log group assigned to this lambda function. So you are able to see your any error. So we did one call, right? So here we see execution related stuff. If we log anything in the code, it will automatically, so say for example, if we can log some message here, then it will automatically show. Say for example, we are doing some console.log, then it will show it is in the CloudWatch log. So we are debugging this function and we are just deploying it. We put a console.log additional step and we are deploying this function after changes. So now if I will run this function, it will show us that debug message into our CloudWatch log. So here we are done with that running. So you can see this, it is showing here. So now if we go to the monitoring section and in CloudWatch logs, in recent log we will see that debug message. So that way we are able to do debugging of our lambda function. So here I can see this is the started, and then we see here debug this function, right? So that we logged into our code that we are seeing here. So that way we are able to debug our function into the CloudWatch. We are able to fix if any errors. So this is the monitoring and debugging perspective. Here we are able to do testing. Here we have a different code. We are able to like upload a zip. We are able to package our Node.js related functions, and we are able to upload as a zip as well. And also if we have a bigger size, we are able to upload in S3 and able to use here. In generally, like this is a single lambda function we created, but in enterprise project there are a lot of lambda function. We are using different infrastructure as a code. Say for example, AWS LAMP, CDK, or a Terraform or other IAC serverless framework. We writing code with IAC to create a lambda function and deploy it along with this package code and everything. In configuration, you will see different options like memory size. So according to your requirement or your business logic, you are able to increase this memory size. By default, it is 128 MB. Timeout also, like you are able to increase it by default 3 seconds. You are able to increase it more timeout. So there will be a certain limit on timeout, but you are able to change that according to your net. So there will be of course a certain limit, because these are the serverless functions to run your stuff. So here you are also able to add a triggers, like say for example, if someone doing something on S3 bucket, when someone upload a file to S3 bucket, you have to call this lambda function, then you can add that triggers. Either also you can create a triggers related to, like if someone pushing a message to SQS, you can call this lambda function. So according to your need, you are able to add a trigger as well. So if you want to create some simple APIs, in that case you will use API gateway in front of your Lambda functions. Okay, so that way event driven application will take, someone upload a file to S3, this Lambda function will trigger. So you are able to define your triggers. There will be a permission related stuff. So if your Lambda function doing certain operations, say for example it is storing data into database or storing messages into SQS, according to your need you need to give a permission to your role. So by default it will have a default permission, but if you want to do additional operation, either a DynamoDB or RDS or any other operation, you need to give a permission to your IAM role accordingly. So this IAM role will default have a default permission. So this will permission will be matter when you want to do additional operation in your Lambda function. Same way, there was a function URL. If you want to build a like simple function URL based function, then you are able to create a functions without API gateway. You can trigger this Lambda function when you create a function URL. Environment variable, in which you are able to store different values related to, like if you want to store some configuration in your environment variable, that you can later change the behavior of your functions, right? So that way you can easily manage your environment related stuff, like something you want to do logically, you can store different environment variable and execute it. Tagging is kind of like when you have a like big project, you are able to manage like which project this Lambda function belongs to, and team members and other stuff. You can keep in the tags like which repository and other stuff. VPC is kind of like whenever your Lambda function doing operation on RDS, your RDS is in VPC private, then you need to give a VPC related things. You need to assign VPC to your Lambda function so that you are able to do operation on particular RDS database and other stuff, right? So these are different options available, like monitoring related options available here to do the additional stuff. Concurrency related stuff also available, like if you want to run your it will auto do concurrent Lambda run up to 1000 limit. Asynchronous invocation also you are able to do. By default it will do to retry on asynchronous invocation, like when S3 trigger to the Lambda function and other stuff, right? So in that case it will do to retry if something goes wrong in asynchronous manner. And so these are the different like other options, the file system and state machine related stuff. So this is a state machine related stuff is a recent launch durable Lambda function, where you want to do multiple step, and if you want to wait for some time, this is a recent launch feature of like durable Lambda function, where you are able to do multiple step in your Lambda function and wait for approval and other stuff. So this will be a durable Lambda function also you are able to create. So this way, like versioning and other stuff. So this is the like complete overview of your Lambda function. And if you are absolutely beginner and get some idea and you are able to start your development, so here you need to like write your business logic. Say for example, you want to do a DynamoDB operation, you want to use AWS AWS SDK for connecting to the DynamoDB and do your operation like document creation, document update and delete and other stuff, right? So that you need to write in your handler function, and you need to upload it as a zip, or in enterprise project you can upload it through bundle that project your Node.js, and you can upload it through infrastructure as a code by using CDK, Terraform or a serverless framework. So this is a complete overview of AWS Lambda function for absolutely beginner. Go ahead and start doing hands-on. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe my channel, and share with your friends. You can also explore more videos available how to create complete end-to-end APIs and serverless application project in my channel. Thank you for watching.